Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Fiend Metal, and today I fixed the camera. Alright, so yeah, I worked on the camera. I'll insert a picture of what the lens looks like right now, right here. So if you haven't noticed, and I don't know how you would, and if you aren't new to the channel, the camera's been having an issue for a while. This is my little SJ4000 action camera. Now, I'm more of a see if you can fix something before you just throw it away kind of person. So I've been struggling with the scratch on the lens for a while. Now, I'm not saying it's perfect right yet, but it's a big improvement even over what it just was. And the reason I put the time and labor into it now is because I want to use this camera this weekend for racing. So I went ahead, put some time in, cleaned it up, used my old trusty polishing wheel, one of them. A little bit more aggressive, good for getting scratches out of car paint if you're using polishing or scratch removing compound, and it worked pretty well. Now, you know, perfection? No. Does it save me $50 from having to buy another camera real quick? Yeah. But it also gives me a camera that's more or less on the not disposable list, but I'm not as scared to put it out in harm's way. So we're going to try and get more close-up footage of things and see how much close-up stuff we can get actually going on. I want to get more like footage like really close as the cars are coming by, and this might not be the perfect camera for it as far as having a very wide angle lens, but I think it does pretty well when I use it. So I want to get it fixed and use it. Now today I have no idea what I'm thinking about doing. I'm thinking about a lot of different things, and I got to make a game plan for what I'm going to actually do. Right now I need to get my car unloaded, and then I'll have everything in here and I can start working on a game plan of what we're going to go over today. So let's get to that. Alrighty, so quick update on what we're playing for today. I just kind of been struggling with an idea that you guys would want to watch. I mean, I'm working on figuring out where things go in the car as far as electrical goes, and that's not very fun. But something a lot of people should probably know how to do is solder a battery cable in. Because in the middle of nowhere or stuck on the side of the road, if you know how to do it, it can get you moving and it can save you from having to have your car towed. So we're going to step over to the action camera for that, and I'm not sure how the audio is going to be, so sorry if it's not the best. I'm going to try and talk loudly, and I'll be fairly close to the camera, so I hope that helps. But we're just going to see how it goes, and I'll see you guys in a second. Alrighty, so it's been a while since I've even done a soldered on battery cable, just because I haven't really had a need for them. A lot of people have their preferences. I prefer soldered on, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you guys how to do it. Sorry. This is going to be a complete one take, so any screw-ups you'll hear about. Now, first things first, this is a battery load. I think I've showed them to you guys already once when I did the unboxing video. Simple answer is, it has a cup on it. It will hold the solder, which is right here, as you melt it down into it, and then you will insert the battery cable and let it cool, and you have a battery cable. More complicated answer, well, here I've already got one in the vise. So first thing you're going to do is clean the wire. First thing you're going to do is get ventilation of the area. So I'm going to open a big door. Okay, so I'm back, and people have their own ideas on how this goes. My preference is lead-free solder, but you know, you're gonna hear a bunch of arguments: 60-40, rosin core, whole bunch of nonsense. Really, it'll work. It's worked in the past. It's worked on tractors. It works on cars. So what do? Okay, I've got this and a vise. Now you can do this without a vise. You just have to be able to hold this with like a set of vice grips or something like that, and then be able to heat it with a torch, melt the solder into it, and then you'll take the battery cable in and you'll insert it. Easier said than done without a vise, but you know, it can be done in a car if you really have to do it that way. So it's just an optional thing, but we're going to go over this step by step, and I'm going to talk it out as much as I possibly can. So first things first, prep your battery cable. When you are prepping your battery cable, you want to have enough so that it sticks all the way down in, but you don't have a significant amount of wire showing past the flared cup on these type of lugs. So simple answer is 4. There's a mark on the battery cable right at the exact spot where I wanted it. So the next thing you do is you cut, and ta-da. This goes into here perfectly. So when you have it, that's what you'll have. You'll have a nice clean butt, no nothing. Messages for some reason. Now, a lot of people, different ideas. I like to at least clean my wire a little bit first. Everybody's got their own preference. Well ventilated area, so you don't have to breathe a bunch of fumes necessarily. But take the torch. I put some flux on it. It'll act to clean it up, even though it's actually really clean copper. You'd be amazed how much shinier it gets. Might be a little hard to see it, but significantly cleaner. So we have that done. Now, the next step is solder. Now, as you do this, I'm not going to do it right now, but you put flux in the cup, and then as you heat the flux up, you melt the solder down into the cup. Then you get it. I usually go to about half to 2/3 full. That usually turns out to be about the right amount. When you still have a molten pool, you take the battery cable in and you insert it. Pretty simple. But let's get to it. Alrighty, so there you have it. That is one battery cable end, or one battery cable lug onto battery cable. Now, I'm going to go over and do a quick review of this because I'm not sure how well the audio came out. First of all, you cut the battery cable sheathing off. See right here? That's the sheathing. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure I don't make too big of a mess. But you take this and you measure about how far you have to go into the cup in order to get it to bottom out. Err on the side of cutting not necessarily too much off, and then you can always work out to where you'll have that perfect connection, similar to that one. So once you got the sheathing removed, I take it and I get flux on the battery cable that's exposed, battery wire, and then I heat it, and the flux acts as a cleaning agent and gets rid of a bunch of the oxidation and contamination off of it. That just makes it better for when you actually do solder the joint together. You have a much more successful joint. Better connection, in my opinion. It's just going to be a better job done. It also helps with getting it ready because the solder will actually wick up into the sheathing on the wire, which I'll explain in a second. So then you get your, once your cable's ready, you take your battery lug, you secure it somehow. You can put it in a pair of vice grips. You can put it in a vise like I had it. I mean, there's options. You can have somebody sit there and hold it with a set of pliers if you're on the side of the road somewhere doing this repair. But I then put some flux down in here and I start heating it with the torch. And as I'm heating it with the torch, I start adding solder in. And the solder I fill up till it should be about 2/3 full. And then I take the battery or cable, I bring it down, and as it's getting close, I make sure that the torch is heating both of them, so that way the battery cable wire is warmed up and more conducive to bonding with the solder. And then I insert it in, make sure it goes all the way to the bottom, and what you can't see right now is that the solder, thanks to the help of the flux, actually wicks up into the cable. Once you're done with that, I can actually make 3 of these out of this, but I'm just going to slide over here for show. You put this over, this is 3-to-1 shrink tube. You heat it up, it shrinks down, and it provides a additional mechanical connection by shrinking down and being extremely tight on there. So that's how you make a battery cable end, and it's a very useful thing to know how to do because it has a whole lot of uses in the world. My personal favorite part is that with this, I'm not limited on what kind of battery I can run. All I have to do is have the different terminal connections, and I can run several different types. This itself can be bolted to the side post battery using a bolt, so you have the ability to connect to a battery that way. If you have these, you can connect to a top post battery, which makes life really easy. You simply put the bolt through the hole, put the bolt through the other hole, put the nut on and tighten it down, and you have a connection to a top post terminal battery. And then you can also attach to a battery, say like my big rig batteries for my dump truck. Those have posts that are that you just use a nut to tighten down onto, or a wing nut. So you just put this over the post, tighten it down, and you have a connection. These, in my opinion, are more universal than pretty much any other battery connector on the market. And the reason why I wanted to show you guys these is because if you're stuck on the side of the road and you have a broken battery connect terminal, it's a good thing to know at least the basics, because if you can get a hold of a basic hardware store, an Ace Hardware, it's local to me, I could walk in and walk out with everything I needed to make my own battery lug and solder the connection back together and make it work. So, there's definitely some usefulness in knowing how to do this. Also, if you are connecting two batteries together, this is a great way to connect them together throughout the car. These are great for running to winches. You can connect to the battery and then connect to the winch. And you have winch cables. I mean, there's just a lot of different ways you can use these in a car. This one will be my battery to chassis ground. I'll also have one more coming off of the negative terminal and going all the way to the front of the car to the negative distribution block, which will have another one running from it to the engine. But very basic, very simple. Keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate things. But that's how to do a soldered-on connection on a battery cable end. So I thought I'd share that with you guys. I hope you enjoyed. We've definitely got more coming along with that car. I'm figuring out all my electronics portions right now, and then we will be putting it back together and getting it running, hopefully after race weekend, because we are racing this weekend, and I have no idea what the next video holds because it's going to be shot on steel pickup day for materials that I want to show you guys. So we'll have to see how that next video plays out. If you guys are liking what you're seeing and you want to see more of it, feel free to like and subscribe down below. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram, also in that description down below. And check us out over on Facebook. I have a Facebook group, Facebook pages, stuff like that, all named after the channel in both its previous and its current name. So there's all that to look up if you want to. So I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I hope you're enjoying the content, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.